Welcome, everyone. It is 5:15 on Monday, August 24th, 2020, and the Carroll City Council meeting is now in session. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please note everyone's in attendance except Mike Kotz yet. The first item that we have this evening is introduction of an oath of officer, Walter Pacheco. And Brad?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to introduce you guys quick, this is Walter Pacheco. He started with us last Monday, sorry. He will start the academy this next Monday in Des Moines, kind of online for a little bit, and then down in person starting later this month. Walter, born and raised in Puerto Rico. He's lived in Des Moines the last few years working down there, and got a bachelor's degree from University of Puerto Rico in criminal justice, and speaks Spanish, and has already helped us out quite a few times with that. So new officer, he's going to take it over for Officer Roy Jansen, who retired earlier this year. So we're happy to have him on board. Looking forward to get him through training and get him back through field training and get him on the schedule as patrol officer.
Very good. I'll come down there, Walter, and we'll do the oath for you. Let's stay right there. Keep going, sir. Just raise your right hand for me. I, Walter Pacheco,
I, Walter Pacheco,
solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will enforce the laws
and that I will enforce the laws
of the United States,
of the United States,
the State of Iowa,
the State of Iowa,
and the City of Carroll,
the City of Carroll,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially,
and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my abilities,
discharge all the duties
discharge with the duties
of a peace officer
of peace officer
of the City of Carroll,
of the City of Carroll,
as now or hereafter
as in now or hereafter
required by law.
required by law.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for joining.
We'll get a new one.
Okay. Sorry. Well, then I must be willing to the witnesses.
Yeah. We'll get it. We'll get it to you later.
Thank you. The next item, that's the roll call. Okay, the next item is the consent agenda, which includes approval of minutes of the August 10th meeting, approval of bills and claims, and under licenses and permits, we have the renewal of a special Class C liquor license, beer and wine, with Sunday sales for Hunan Chinese Restaurant. And then under appointments to committees, commissions, and boards, under Parks, Recs, and Cultural Advisory Board, Dr. Casey Burlau. Is there any discussion with regards to the consent agenda? If not, I need a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Fleshner,
Yes.
Dirks,
Yes.
Base,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Haley.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is oral requests and communications from the audience on items not on the agenda. And if there are any, this is the time.
The mics are unmuted, so if anybody in the public would like to make a comment, please do so now.
Maybe just start picking one at a time.
That's all how I did it.
Yeah.
No, but for the back feedback, like,
It's the
okay.
Seeing none, we will move on to ordinances, and there are none of those this evening. The next item on the agenda is under resolutions, and it is the street maintenance facility. And it is 5:19, and we will open a public hearing with regards to the plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost, and then consideration of the adoption of plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost. And Randy, please, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On August 12th,
the plan specifications on the contract, an estimate of cost of the street maintenance facility were filed by FEH Design. The plans detail the construction of the street maintenance facility building located at 423 3rd Street, which is adjacent to the current street maintenance garage. The proposed building is approximately 18,150 square feet in size. It does have a 3,120 square foot mezzanine also on the interior. Although bid is set up for an addition to the apparatus workshop of about 1,664 square feet. The facility includes a repair workshop, wash bay, general shops, apparatus workshop, and employee areas. An additional item I may mention that's important, the site, the location of the building is excellent. It's adjacent to the current building, basically on the street maintenance facility site. The building is set up for efficient operation of the street maintenance division, but the site itself is very difficult to place a building on. Actually, the new building is proposed to have a finished floor elevation 6 feet above the finished floor elevation of the existing building. That requires that a retaining wall be built between the two buildings. And that retaining wall is illustrated on the site plan that was included in your agenda packet. That's an unusual part of the plan, but it is the only way to fit the building onto that site. The specifications are American Institute of Architects documents plus the master spec technical specification for the contract is the American Institute of Architects contract form. The estimated cost of the facility includes a base bid and 11 as alternates for a total of $4,523,972. Add that to the design contract that the city currently has with FEH Design. There's a total project cost to $4,873,022. Funding for the project has been accumulated this beginning in fiscal year 13-14 from general fund, road use tax, local option sales tax, capital project, streets, and interest for a current total of approximately $5,121,742. The project schedule is set for bid receipt September 15th and construction completion November 15th of 2021. Following the public hearing, unless there are any questions, I'd recommend the reconsideration of adoption of the plan specification for the contract and estimate cost for the street maintenance facility.
Unmuted.
I know that I think the onus behind this started even before I was mayor. I was still as a council person, and the prior city manager and prior mayor had done a job, looked at this and had started to save money for this project. And I found this out again after I was mayor, and I think about that point in time, they'd already put aside about $2 million for this project. And that was 4 or 5 years ago. And I think the council, we have also been putting money aside for this because I think that it had been part of a strategic guide to get this accomplished. And that's why this is a project that we have just been putting the money aside for to pay for it all at once. And that way there's no interest cost, there's no bonding issue, there's no any additional cost to the taxpayer. And that's where we started with this. So
I had a little concern on this, moving this project forward at this time, similar to my same concern with the rec center bond referendum because of COVID-19. And with that concern, I've been working with Laura here on trying to make sure that our finances are in a good enough shape to move forward with this. So I think for right now, because Laura's got the financial numbers, let's let her talk and then I'll come back on that again.
Well, I know you had asked earlier today about how road use tax collections had been going
During COVID-19.
during COVID. And I can tell you that when we re-estimated the amount that we thought we were going to receive for fiscal 20, it was just under 1.3 million, like 1,272,000. The amount that we actually did receive this fiscal year is $1,298,623, which was about $25,000 more than what we had thought. And the re-estimated number came from a per capita dollar figure that the state gives every city. They anticipate and estimate on how they get all their data and said, okay, we believe this is about how much per capita you should receive. Well, we exceeded that just a little bit. The state is continually reviewing this each month that they get the data from their contacts to determine, like how much money each city is going to get each month. And so, not that they're saying that we didn't see a drop off. We did see a drop off in road use tax collections from what they had, maybe what we had typically seen at this same time period, but it maybe wasn't quite as substantial as what they maybe were anticipating. They're still looking at it every month, and every time they get data, they keep looking at it and where they think they're going to go from there. But they're, I think, being somewhat cautiously optimistic that collections are still going.
Randy, could you go over some of the alternate bids there? Just, I know you'd sent out an email. Could you just kind of go through those real quick, maybe?
Sure can. The first additional truck bay, that's the 1,664 feet addition. Actually, the reason that was an alternate stems from the original space needs study and then some rethink
Unmuted.
of how this building could function.
Muted.
The second
Unmuted.
pressure,
Muted.
the second is a pressure washer. It's an item that is nice to have in a new facility, in a new truck wash bay, depending on how the bids come out. Another ladder stand, that's also just a ladder, basically a step with a platform for washing trucks. It would be in the wash bay also. Emergency generator, we believe that this is the time to fit this building to be functional during those times of emergencies, power outages. Certainly the street department is expected to continue to operate through windstorm, through ice storm, where we can typically lose power. And this is a proposal to prepare this building to serve that need to keep the street department operational. Vehicle lift system is a portable lift system for the maintenance shop. Wheel lift system is also a portable system. The difference between the two, vehicle lift is the lift of a vehicle like a pickup size, and wheel lift would be able to lift medium-duty truck size. The gas recode hardware, number 7, is it's a hardware for concrete on grade, slabs on grade. If the architect believes it's a better product than liquid hardware, and they would like to see it, but if the budget doesn't permit it, the bid doesn't permit it, the liquid sealer and hardware is required. Vertical conveyor is just a small lift system from the finished floor, main finished floor, up to the mezzanine level. The entire area, practically the entire area, above the employee area of the building has been made a mezzanine, a relatively lower cost per square foot for storage. And this is just a lift system to assist in lifting heavier objects off the elevator type system. 2 bridge cranes, one a 210, one a 510. The 210 is proposed to be placed in the apparatus bay used for handling any equipment associated with the trucks, whether it's plows, taking them on and off, even plow blades, cutting edges, taking them on and off. The 510 crane is proposed for the mechanics bay to assist in any type of vehicle or equipment maintenance. And then the air compressor, kind of the same thing as a pressure washer. The entire building is piped for compressed air, outlets at different locations. New air compressor of a little bit larger size than is currently used would be nice to have if the budget permits. If not, we would just transfer the current air compressor over to this building. That's the 11 ordinance.
Unmuted.
I have a little more on with COVID-19 and in the general fund. Mike told me, and then Laura backed it up, is we finished the year at the end of June in good shape. And obviously we didn't, everybody got their tax statement, there wasn't increase there. So the general fund is in really good shape. But the large part of this whole thing is the local option sales tax. And with COVID-19, I was worried, is the local option sales tax money going to be coming in? And so I got a hold of Laura, and ironically, she got the numbers just last week, and she can go ahead and give what that is too.
So when this all started with COVID-19, yes, we were all very concerned about what was going to happen. So the Iowa Department of Revenue sent out some information to the cities at the end of May that said for the remainder of the fiscal year, which would include the months that we would receive payments, their fiscal year, that we would receive payments of May, June, and July, they were going to continue to make the same payment that they had estimated that we were going to get back when they made their estimate back in August of 2019. And if for some reason your actual collections were going to be really drastically different than what you actually received, they would then just adjust your fiscal 21 payments that you were going to get. And that information just came out. I just got it in the mail last Friday, our estimate for our next fiscal year. And when I do the comparison of the fiscal 20 information to fiscal 21, the state has actually a 7% increase in our payments to us, to the city of Carroll. So that's
Surprise.
reassuring.
That's a surprise.
That is a big surprise. Yes, I would have probably thought more flat, if anything, but they have 7% increase in there. Now, another indicator will be every year they do a true up. So what we get on a monthly basis is 95% of what they anticipate you get for that fiscal year. So they're not giving you everything, and then they'll do a true up after the fiscal year completes, and you get that true up payment in November after the year closes. So another indicator will be what is that true up payment going to look like in November when we get that? So that'll be another indication of, I guess, how the last fiscal year, if COVID, and I know we're not technically out of the pandemic, so they're continuing to watch it. And if the state does see a big drop off, they will adjust your payments going in that fiscal year at some point. So, and I don't know what their trigger point is, what percentage of a drop off that they monitor. So I don't know, but at this point, it's looking good.
Looking good. One of the concerns I had on this is if those indicators were not going to be very good, we could delay this and we could pull money back out of these funds if we needed to just to operate. But with this research that, we did here and Laura got the numbers for us, we're looking okay in all three funding sources for this. So the worry for me to not go forward with this, to put it out for job bids, I'm satisfied with the numbers we're seeing, and I'm satisfied with going forward, especially with the local option sales tax, because that's the largest part of this funding. And if that's really solid, that's important. That's an important thing.
Well, and to say you're concerned with the local option sales tax, we have set aside I can't remember if it's all of it as of fiscal 20, that it's,
It's already in there.
We've already collected it.
Yeah, I get that, but
Yes.
in emergency, we could actually pull that back
Pull
out.
it back, right?
You could,
But
yes.
we have no need to do that because of what the state just said.
Mhm.
You know, 7% increase is kind of unusual.
And again, I would just, point out that this is just to put it out to bid.
Right.
We can still get the bid back, and if it's over, I mean, again, with all the other projects, if it doesn't fit, we don't accept the bids too, so. But
So I guess my bottom line is the worry I had with COVID-19, like even back to when we were deciding on the rec center bond referendum, I had that worry.
Yeah,
If I'd known the information we have now, I would be, I would have never worried about the COVID-19 with the rec center bond referendum and this option now. So it's good news.
Laura, do you know what the approximate average increase on local option sales tax is year over year?
Not off the top of my head, but this does seem like it's been a higher percentage than what we've seen in the past. I do have some of that information. Do I have it where I calculated that percent every year? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I calculated the percent increase each year, so.
Let me rephrase. When we do our budgeting, what do you utilize there?
When we do budget, I usually build in, I do not include an increase going forward. When we project out our 5 years, I don't use an increase.
So you plan flat.
Mhm.
So even if 7% doesn't happen, that's a huge number. This is a wonderful indicator for us at a state level. Even if that doesn't happen, if half of that happens at 3.5%, for instance, it's still a gain over what our projections and our budgets are planned for, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that
Or
was
break even.
Well,
exactly.
It's also good news for regarding the language in our lost ballot that the 25% of loss that goes to property tax relief.
Correct.
That's right. That's a
So
7% increase there.
That to me is what's significant to the taxpayers and the voters.
Yeah, good point. Yeah,
Fantastic.
because that really goes
That
up.
is really good news
Mhm.
because that's good news for the taxpayers, in my
Mhm.
mind.
Laura, you said that the state pays out only 95% and then makes sure, what's the time frame that they hold that back? You said they could just pay 95% if I,
And then they do their true up in
True up.
November.
okay.
So the November check.
And we've never missed that, have we?
No.
Right.
We've always received something. Obviously, some years have been higher than other
Right.
years. And I can't tell you off the top of my head what they've really been, but
Mhm.
yeah, we've always received something.
So with that, Jerry, even if they gave us nothing, we've got
Correct.
95%.
Right.
You know, I want to thank you, Councilman Dirks, for bringing this information to the forefront. It really is to the point of how much our information changes even day to day living in a COVID society. And to see these types of potential increases is very encouraging and speaks volumes not only to the current council, but previous councils as to how money has been managed around here. Mr. Mayor, you pointed out that previous mayor and city manager started saving money for this project.
Right.
Now, I don't know if there's one of us around this table who wouldn't love to save for all the projects that we do and thereby
Yeah.
get rid of the interest payments that are involved. But
Yeah.
we borrow very little money here at the city of Carroll relative to other cities. And it's just great to see the fruits of all those years of people working together come together and really make a great financial picture.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
Good. Yeah. Let's see, this is a public hearing, so are there any questions from the audience that's online? Any questions? No?
That's where you want to unmute all.
Oh,
Yeah, there's no.
there's,
Going on.
Going on.
Nobody's logged in.
yeah, sorry.
Well, they
Let's Jack
probably
have a
make a
question.
comment if they wanted to.
Well, they'll review it online. They'll review this online.
Well, after it's done, this will all be, yeah. Seeing no questions from the audience, it is 5:40 and we'll close the public hearing. Are there any other questions from the council? Is there anything else from the council? If not, I will look for a motion to adopt the plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the street maintenance facility to go forward with bid.
So moved.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Base? Yes. Haley?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the Downtown Streetscape Phase 10. And it is 5:40. And we will open another public hearing. And I believe this is Randy again, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Muted.
A plan specification, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the downtown streetscape phase 10 have been filed by Confluent. The plans detail construction of streetscape work on 7th Street between West and Carroll and between Main and Clark, on Main Street between 4th and 5th, which is actually redoing previous project as a result of two things. One being the change on Main Street that the new county jail has made, and also some additional work on the west side of Main Street in front of the theater. Also includes some work in the Westgate Mall parking lot and then lighting, and in the 4th Street parking lot, which is between the back of the theater and Adams Street, north of 4th Street. The specifications are the SUDAS standard specification with supplemental and special provisions. Form of contract is prepared by Confluence. The estimated construction cost of the project is $1,400,191.38. Add the design work that's contracted to that, and the current total project cost estimate is $1,503,666.38. Funding for the project has been identified as a loan from the Water Utility Fund, and of course repayment through the TIF funding. Currently, that stands at $1,241,734, plus some interest to a total current of $1,244,984.15. Of course, once bids are received, if you decide to proceed with this project, that number would have to be changed either by rebudgeting or budgeting for next fiscal year. Currently, the schedule for the project anticipates bid receipt September 8th, and your consideration of those bids at your next meeting on September 14th, and construction completion September 30th of 2021. Following the public hearing, unless there are any questions, I'd recommend your consideration of adoption of the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the downtown streetscape phase 10 project.
Unmuted.
Is there a way to make up that much of a difference for funding?
We'd have to probably take a look at how the water fund is sitting. That's typically been how we've been funding these projects, the last handful of projects.
Okay. Again, it's the bid going out and what the bid comes back.
To your point, Mr. Mayor, we see what the bids come back and then we make decisions from there.
Yeah.
But Laura, your point is we can use the interdepartment or departmental transfer between the water fund potentially and.
Potentially, yeah, we'll have to take a look at where that balance sits. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Sure. You'll get that for us, though, I'm
That
sure.
would
I'll work with Randy on that.
I
Yeah.
think that'd be brought forward before we make the decision if it was over.
Yeah.
The bid was over.
So completion's not,
Hi, this is Mike.
go ahead, Mike.
I just want to make it clear that this this would
Muted.
be just a simple loan from the water department, and then it would be repaid through tax increment financing.
Unmuted.
Have we typically though made sure that the money was there before we borrowed it, or?
Well, you'd have to have, funds in the
Muted.
water
Or
fund.
Unmuted.
do
Lend
it?
it to there, and then it's just, there'd be a little bit of a lag in the collection, obviously, because you have to collect the TIF then to repay it.
Correct, okay.
And usually we've been seeing the loans repaid within a year or two.
Oh, that fast?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay. Okay.
At the League of City meetings that I go to once in a while, we talk about this, just in general. Is it worth spending money on enhancing your town, basically? And almost everybody there says, when a city spends money to make their town look nice, the citizens will usually follow. They'll repaint their buildings so the city's kind of the leader in that. And so everybody at those meetings says, yes, it's important to spend money to get your towns looking better.
And this is good in the fact that we did work together with the county as well to get some additional parking spaces added in down on Main Street across from the theater.
Mhm.
And helps to balance out some of that parking deficit that we see.
That was part of this, that's part of this project. wasn't
Yes, it is, sir.
My only question was that the completion date was not till next September, but my understanding was that would be done quicker. Is Randy still available or Mike?
Yes, I
Muted. Unmuted. Muted.
we had set this up after discussions with a couple of contractors. We decided to go ahead and propose bidding this fall. They were comfortable that they could get the pricing firm through next year. And then the other factor is that these light fixtures, even before COVID, they were several months out for delivery. And we don't know what it will be now, but this will give them the opportunity, contractors, the opportunity to get light fixtures ordered and be ready to install when they get the other concrete work completed for that. We did set it up to give them ample time during the year to get it done before fall. No indication of when we would. It's once the contract is awarded, those are the only parameters for the contractor or the completion date.
Unmuted.
While the work
Unmuted.
would be done well before September, we didn't want to tie up any contractor, to what might result in higher bid.
Unmuted.
Okay, that's fine. I understand that. The only reason I asked is because the jail project is projected to be finished in July of next year. So I was hoping that we could project the same thing for the parking. It doesn't have to be, but I understand the difference. I was just hoping that the parking in any way could be done by them, but that really isn't that much. It's 2 months difference is all. If they would be on schedule. That was my hope, that it would be, the parking anyway, the expansion of parking could be done. If one or the other was done faster, I'd like to see that done as the jail finishes.
Okay.
But I understand why we're doing this with September, so I'm okay.
Are there any questions from the public? Since it's a public hearing. Seeing none, it is 5:49. We'll close the public hearing. Are there any other questions from the council? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion for the adoption of the plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the downtown streetscape Phase 10 project.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. There's no other discussion. We'll go ahead and vote, please.
Seaman?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the Iowa COVID-19 Local Government Relief Fund Resolution. Is that yours, Laura?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you probably heard, Governor Kim Reynolds has allocated $125 million for reimbursements to go to local governments to help cover expenses incurred in response to the COVID-19 emergency. In doing so, there's a number of things that the city will have to go through to make sure that they're necessary expenditures. They were not accounted for in the city's budget that was approved, or whichever budget was mostly approved or most recently approved as of March 27th. The expenditures had been incurred between March 1st and 2020 and before December 30th of 2020, and they have not been reimbursed or where reimbursement has not been requested from another source of funding. So some of those examples include personal protective equipment like face coverings, sanitizing products, and 25% of payroll costs for public safety employees for services dedicated to mitigating or responding to the COVID-19 pandemic. As part of this whole process, city staff, right now, we're working on gathering that information and figuring out what are the eligible expenses. However, they're requesting council pass a resolution stating that all this reimbursement does follow the federal and state guidance on how funds should be spent, and that if the funds are misrepresented, that the local government will be liable for repayment and any applicable penalty and interest. We have attached a resolution that was drafted with in conjunction with the Iowa League of Cities. The amount of the reimbursement that is listed in the resolution is the maximum amount eligible to be reimbursed to the city of Carroll based upon this allocation factor, this allocation formula that the state has come up with, estimated on the city's 2019 population. But as of right now, the total amount that's going to be submitted is not known. There are two submittal time frames. First submittal for expenses incurred from March through July 31st is due by September 15th. So we're working to get this information to put together rather quickly. But what we're looking for council tonight is to approve the resolution that was included with the agenda packet requesting for the reimbursement and to say that these are eligible expenses.
Do you have that all itemized?
For which, what's going to be what?
The 233, yeah. You have that all itemized?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
No, we're working on it.
So you just kind of identified the full amount?
Yes, we
Okay.
put in here the full amount that is eligible based upon how the state determined the maximum amount each community would get.
Could this number change then, you think? Up or down? Or are you guys pretty?
It won't go up.
Won't go up?
No,
okay.
I guess there's a potential to go down, but it won't go up.
So if we get money and we identify that we didn't need it, can we send it back?
Probably.
Okay.
But we have to submit the expenses.
If the expenses.
So we have to have the actual
Oh.
expenses.
Okay.
So it could be under that dollar amount, but we went ahead since we don't have it identified yet
Yeah.
how much it is.
Okay.
More likely, I think we're going to exceed this dollar amount just with the payroll expense alone.
Yeah, that'd probably be the biggest one.
Because we can go up to 25% of our payroll costs for our public safety employees.
Okay.
So we'll work with the state, we'll work with the League of Cities and get all the details figured out for what can be submitted. But this is to make council aware that we would like to
We're working
submit.
on doing it.
Yep, and that the city's going to plan on submitting for reimbursement.
Any other questions for Laura? Not. I will look for a motion to approve the attached resolution requesting the reimbursement from the Iowa COVID-19 Government Relief Fund.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. There's no other discussion. We'll go ahead and vote, please.
Seaman,
Yes.
Base,
Yes.
Dirk,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Fleshner.
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Thank you. Let's see, we have no reports this evening. I trust everyone's gone through the monthly activity reports. I just seems like with all the stuff that's been going on, I hope people in town kind of have some patience with what's going on. A lot of this stuff is all fairly new. I think a lot of the government entities are trying to work through trying to get everything done and accomplished and making things safe for return to schools and work and that sort of thing. And I kind of just ask that everybody takes a little breather and sits back and knows that those people that we have hired are doing a fine and excellent job. And and I try to commend them as much as I can. And just be aware that we're all looking out for each other. As we get through this is hopefully an end pretty soon. So thank you. Are there any comments from the council? Any comments from the city manager if he's still on? Mike?
None this evening, thank you.
Thank you. If there's nothing else, we'll go ahead. I'll seek a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and vote, please.
Schlesner,
Yes.
Dirk,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Base,
Yes.
Seaman.
Yes.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.